What is up, guys? This is Pinzo back with another video today, and what I have for you guys are patch notes. This is the patch for 13.3. This patch is going live a week earlier than it's supposed to. The correct patch day would be the 26th, but that's obviously right after Christmas, so they are pushing this live the 19th of December. So we got the patch notes today, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go through these. For new console people who haven't read patch notes yet, they are formatted atrociously, just so you know. So I'm going to go through and I will make sense of them for you. I'll tell you guys what's going on. Don't worry. Yeah, so this patch is coming live a little early. The next patch, I think, will still be at the normal time. So I think it will be 4 weeks between patches, which is a little unfortunate, but, you know, whatever. Store update. So we get a phase skin, a Kai skin, and a Drongo skin. This Drongo skin looks kind of cool. It's probably going to be 20 bucks. Howie skin as well. Controller changes. I don't really know what most of these mean. I don't play on controller. So there are some controller changes to the functionality of it. Again, I personally don't really know what this is going to mean. Sorry. I can't really make sense of that one for you. Ability buffering. So ability buffering has been bugged since they updated it, and they are changing it so that it's not bugged anymore. You can't buffer your blink anymore. I don't know why, but you can't. Max buffer duration before an input is forgotten. So I've had this happen a couple times on like Rampage Rock. You'll hit a key right at the beginning of Rampage Rock, and it'll buffer it the entire time. So now the buffer duration is lowered. It's much lower, which will help you not randomly use abilities after you get CC'd, and this should be a good quality of life. Dashes will also now take into account the movement key being pressed when you hit them. It's also very good, because that's super annoying. Hero changes. So Countess gets a bug fix. This is just a description fix. It was already at 1% on her passive. It's a description fix. Decker, improved responsiveness on cast. I've played Decker like twice on this patch, and I thought she felt terrible. Her right click feels really slow, so hopefully this makes it feel better. Bang Mao, getting some damage increases. He's getting 5 damage on his dash and 5 damage on his hamstring at all levels. I don't think this character realistically needs damage increases. I think he's pretty good. Like, they're talking about his clear. I think this character is plenty good. These aren't huge buffs, so this really probably kind of doesn't matter. But, you know, moving on. Greystone. This is a character that needs nerfed badly. He is getting some damage taken off of his E, so these damage numbers look a little weird. Keep in mind, this ability hits 3 times, right? It's a stim for the next 3 auto attacks. So all these damage numbers are tripled. So you're losing 15 damage at level 1, and at level 5, you are losing 27 damage. So it's a decent amount of damage to lose off of this ability. Is it going to change how good Greystone is? Not at all. Grux gets some weird changes, some interesting changes to his passive. So for those of you that don't know, Grux's passive, when you hit people, it applies a dot, and that dot damage can stack up to 6 times, and at 6 stacks, Grux gains Omnivamp against people who have 6 stacks on them. So just so you know, that's the way that it works. Now you can gain that Omnivamp against jungle camps, which is really big, actually. That's a very good quality of life for his jungle clear. His jungle clear is pretty bad, which makes you take a lot of damage. So now he will take less damage because he'll heal some of it back. Apparently, he gained move speed at max stacks. That was never in an ability description. Nobody knew this. That's gone away. This might not even be true. If this is true, that's bonkers. Good thing they're taking it away. The damage on his bleed is going up. Very cool. Iggy getting some buffs. His health is being decreased. His base health is being decreased. The cooldown on his Molotov is going up by half a second. That's fine. The damage on his turrets is going up quite a bit. Like 6 damage at level 5, at rank 5, is a decent amount of damage to actually gain on this ability, because they shoot once a second. You can have 3 of them, which means it could be up to 18 damage, right? That's quite a bit. And then his ultimate gets some weird changes here. I'm not sure why. What does this say? Let's see. As well as less burst damage, the trade-off for his ultimate being the instant boot back. So what they did is they increased the damage of the actual, because Iggy's ult, it channels for 4 seconds, and then it boops, and it does a bunch of damage during the channel, and then it does a burst damage when you boop them, when you knock them back. So they're increasing the damage quite a bit, actually, for the channeled portion of this. But then they are decreasing the damage a lot. They are destroying the damage on the actual knockback portion. So now when you instant cancel this ability to get peel, it will do not very much damage at all. This, like, it just won't do anything. It's going to be very low. It's 70 damage plus 50% scaling on the boop, and the other portion of the ultimate is 500 plus 150% scaling. So this is going to be, like, you're not going to get a lot of value out of this if you don't channel it. That's kind of the trade-off they're trying to push, which is good. That's a good change. Pilari gets some dagger increases. So her crippling dagger has been nerfed for like 3 patches. It got nerfed 2 patches in a row, and they're bringing some of that back. So it gains 5 damage at level 2, and it gains 20 damage at level 5. You know, those are that's a lot of damage to gain. And then her ultimate's actually getting nerfed on the backside of that. The base damage goes down. Total healing bonus, physical power scaling. I don't even know what this means. This is like I said, the patch notes are formatted very bad, and most of them I can decipher for you. This one, I don't know what this one means. Kira. So again, this is the bad formatting. Her auto attack damage is going down. That's all that this is. It's just going down. And then her dash, on Kira, when you dash, you gain power for 3 seconds afterwards. That is going down by 5 at all ranks. That's fine. Morigesh gets scaling increase to her hive. It's 10% scaling. Pretty big buff. Muriel, less shields on her E and less shields on her ult. There you go. I don't know why this one. Okay, see, this one here, Muriel, is formatted correctly. This is how the patch notes should be formatted. So I don't know why the rest of them aren't. This one's formatted correctly. Anyway, she has less shields on her E and her ult now. That's fine. Her shields are super annoying. If they nerf them too much, the character won't be good. I think these are fine. Narbash gets some changes. His base mana gets decreased. His mana cost on his Q, this is his speed boost, actually goes down, which that's pretty big. And then the healing on his E goes down a little bit as well. So -4 healing per second at max rank. This ability is really, really strong. I think it's fine that it goes down, to be honest. I think Narbash will still be good. I don't think he will be broken. I think this will put him into a better spot. FaZe gets some changes. Her health decreased at level 1, max health decreased. Her mana is going down at all levels. Max mana also going down at all levels. I don't know exactly what these numbers mean, so I'm not going to tell you. I just know that the mana is going down. Her link gets an increased cast distance, but a decreased break distance. So you can cast it a tiny bit further, but it will break a tiny bit shorter, like closer to you. These are fine. I really think that this ability just stinks. I think they just need to change it. It needs to be a completely new ability, in my opinion. Psychic Flare, her Q, this is her blind. Mana cost decreased. That's fine. Richter, he gets on his E does more damage based on your maximum health. So that number is going down from 8% of your max health to 7% of your max health. And the scaling per tick, again, I don't know why this is even here. This doesn't mean anything. But the scaling from max health is going from 8% to 7%. That's a fine nerf. That ability hits really hard late game. Sereth getting some changes. So I've been talking about Sereth and the reason that she's broken, and they didn't nerf the reason that she's broken. So we'll see how this goes. What they need to nerf is her passive, and they're not doing that. They're buffing her right-click base damage. It's going up quite a bit at rank 5. That's interesting. I think it's probably just to compensate her clear for them nerfing her Q. The total physical power scaling on the Q is going down, so it'll do less damage. But then the on-hit modifier is also decreasing. So Sereth Q does apply on hits. Anything that says on auto attack will apply on Sereth Q, but its effectiveness is decreased. It doesn't apply at 100% effectiveness. Currently, it applies at 75%. This nerf is bringing that down to 60% effectiveness. And then her ultimate, the burn damage on her ultimate is getting decreased. That's fine. It probably should be decreased. Steel, health regen at level 1 goes down. That's fine. Twin Blast actually gets a pretty big buff here on Rocket Dash. This is his dash. It goes down by 2 seconds at max rank. And keep in mind that Rocket Dash gets its cooldown decreased when you land auto attacks. So that's actually that's a pretty big buff. Vortex Grenade, his right click, it's going to do less damage, and it's going to have a higher cooldown. Increased 1 second cooldown at all ranks. This is probably a good change. Xeris, so mana changed. He gets a little less mana at level 1. That's fine. His right click gets a 5 base damage nerf. Also fine. This character, it's not going to change how good this character is. He'll just do slightly less damage. Item changes. All right, let's see what we got. Rending, so Eviscerator. The Eviscerator's active increased from 30 to 90 seconds. Okay, that's wild. This is going to be bad, I think. But yeah, it goes up. Sanctification, scaling on the shield goes down from 12% to 10%. Probably good. You could get ginormous Sanct shields. This is probably a good change. All tier 2 anti-heal items are going from 20% anti-heal to 25% anti-heal. So they are all getting buffed on the tier 2s. This is probably a good change. I don't know how much this is going to realistically matter. At most points in the game when you're buying anti-heal, I kind of feel like the 5%, you're not going to feel it a whole lot. But then again, it's not really something you'll feel because they just won't be healing as much. So you might get an extra kill here or there where you shouldn't. Maybe you'll live because they'll have to back off. Yeah, I don't know. Dust Devil, the movement speed on this item got decreased from 18% to 15%. That's a good change. This item's broken. I think 15% with the other stats that this item gives at max stacks, which is 25 power, 10%, 12% attack speed, and now 15% move speed. I think with all of those stats combined, this value is probably still too high. Onyxian Quiver, the multi-shot scaling gets increased by 1%. I don't think that really changes how good this item is. Nightfall, the healing on this has gone up. It goes from 5% to 6%, and then the doubled version of it, of course, goes from 10 to 12. Still don't think this item's very good. I just don't know when you want it, but it heals you a little more now. Painweaver, move speed decreased from 3% to 2% per stack. So keep in mind this stacks 4 times. So instead of getting up to 12% move speed, you're going to get up to 8% move speed. It's a pretty big nerf. I still think this item's probably good. I'd have to feel it and see how much I can feel the decreased move speed to understand whether or not it's actually good. This is one of those changes that's just really hard to tell based on reading patch notes. Echelon Cloak. This is the Invis Cloak item. Camo health regen decreased from 2% to 1%. This was realistically, this was the only reason that this item was good. It is a fun item to use. The stealth is fun to get on characters like Richter and Steel. Realistically, the health regen was the only reason why this item was actually good. So they nerfed it. They cut it in half. It's going to be bad now. I think this is a bad item. Tainted Blade gets 50 HP. Very cool. Berserker's Axe gets a change. So it gains 10 ability haste. It loses 5 power, and it loses 50 health. Of course, the recipe changes to impact that. I think this is probably a good change. I think this is probably a buff, actually. You lose a little bit of power and a little bit of HP, but now this item having haste on it is actually going to make it feel worth it to buy. Like, this could be an item that could be good on Crunch. It could maybe be even good on Greystone, right? Those kinds of characters. But when it doesn't have ability haste on it, it's really hard to justify it. And now it does have some. It's only 10, but it has some. Citadel gets a nerf. Good. It needs one. Base armor decreased and armor per stack decreased. So this is going from, 45 plus 40. So this is going from 85 max to 70 max physical defense. Realistically, this item's still going to be good. They didn't nerf the parts of the item that make it OP. They nerfed the parts of the item. They're trying to bring it in line. It's not that this isn't going to be in line. This item's going to be really good still. Because even in lane, you're still 46 defense, and this is going to be a good item. Caustica, we'll get into this. This is in the patch notes later, actually. Magnify, cost decreased by 100 gold. Very cool. Megacosm gets a buff. They nerfed Megacosm for one whole patch, and now they have to buff it again. Oh god, I don't know. I don't like this, to be completely honest. The dot damage on this was 4%. They nerfed it to 3%. Now it's going to 3.5%. Very cool. I don't know why they're buffing this item. They're just making the item that was good again. I don't know. Prophecy gets a cost decrease by a substantial amount. Still think the item's probably not good. Tainted Scepter, again, we'll get into that one a little bit later. Orb of Growth has more mana on it now, but the passive that heals you based on your missing HP is going down. Same thing happens to Orb of Enlightenment. Fire Blossom gets a huge cost increase, actually. 250 gold. To be fair, this item is cheap as hell. 2,700 gold. It's priced as a support item, except it was being picked up first in the offlane and jungle. Now it's priced as a real item. That's good. Apparently, it was not giving 45 armor, even though that's what it said. Now it will. Its recipe got changed in a good way. It has an extra physical defense item in it, so that now you can build that while you're waiting for an extra 250 gold. This is a good change. Galaxy Greaves, gold decreased by 150, which is a huge, that's a huge buff. And you lose 5 physical defense for it, but this is just going to be bought every game on support. Elefrost, passive health scaling has been decreased. This is another one that's a formatting error, because this isn't even the right number. It's not. The correct number is 4.5% of your bonus HP. It is not 4%. So I don't know if this is going to 3% or 3.5%, because this doesn't say 4.5%. I don't know. If this is going from 4.5% to 3%, then this item is going to probably not be very good. If it is going to 3.5%, then this item could still be good. I don't know. I'd have to test it. But this is another just change that I can't tell because the patch notes are formatted so bad. Stonewall. Ability damage reduction has been increased, so this is a nerf, another formatting error. The current ability damage reduction on Stonewall is 10%. It is being nerfed to 8%. So the way that this reads is that you currently take 0.9%, or you take 0.9x the damage from physical abilities, right? Because it's reduced by 10%. And now you will take 0.92x the damage from physical abilities. So the formatting is really weird. This is a nerf to Stonewall. But the ability reduction scaling, so the reduced damage from physical abilities increases with your amount of bonus physical armor. That's the way the item works, and that scaling is going up. So if you are building full physical defense, this will not be a nerf. If you were slotting this in as like a one item on a normal like caster build, then this will be a nerf. Unbroken Will. This item gets dumpstered. The healing is gone. The healing on Unbroken Will is gone. It's not there anymore. It does get a little bit of extra magic armor, and it gets a little bit of extra tenacity on it. This is going from 15 to 20% tenacity. I don't know, man. This item, it had 6% healing, and then they nerfed it to 3%, and now they took it off. This item does still give 30% additional armor after you get hard CC'd. It gives it for 2 seconds. I don't think it's good anymore. Without the healing, I just don't see when you're building this item. I just don't think it's worth it. Void Helm, health decreased, very cool. Giant's Ring, cost increased and health decreased a little bit. This item's really good. This was probably necessary. Frosted Lure gets some stat shifts. So these are mostly to keep it as a support item. So the health goes down, the base damage goes up, but the scaling goes down. This is just try and keep it in line as a support item. Near War Boots gets a huge nerf. The passive or the active of this used to persist as long as you were in combat, and it doesn't do that anymore, which means that you are only getting this for the 5 seconds now that it is active. This heals, I believe this heals 0.75% of your HP per second. I might be wrong on that number, but if you're getting 0.75% times 5, it's like 3% of your max HP. I don't think this item's good anymore. Stormbreaker gets some nerfs. So the zap bonus, the physical power scaling on the zap is going down. The chain damage, the base damage of it is going up. The critical scaling is going down, so this doesn't just randomly scale on crit chance, and the max stacks are being decreased. These are all good nerfs. This item's probably still good, if I had to guess. Caustica. So this is what I was talking about earlier when we saw Caustica. The Magus passive of this will now always grant 40% magical pen. This currently grants 40% magical pen, but if you drop below 50% mana, then you lose 20% pen, and you gain mana regen. Now, you will still gain the mana regen if you are below 50% mana, but the 40% pen is a constant stat. You will always have it. This is a good change. This really is how it should have been always. Having this lose 20% pen because you're using abilities always felt kind of wonky to me. This is a good change all around. Tainted Scepter gets a change. It's losing pen. It had 10 flat pen on it. It's losing that, but it's gaining 15 ability haste, which is a really big buff for support. The damage on its passive is going down. The base damage is going down, but the damage type is going back to true damage. This used to do true damage. They nerfed it to magical damage. Now it's true damage again. This is probably going to be a pretty good item, if I had to guess. You'll probably see this a lot in support. I think you'll probably see this a decent amount in mid. I feel like the stats on this item are good. The passive being true damage, it's good again. Yeah, I think this is probably good. Fangtooth. Health decreased for some reason. I don't know why they're decreasing the health on Fangtooth, but they are. Orb Prime. The damage decreased on its basic attack. That's fine. Special attack order changed. Interesting. So, from slam missiles knockback to missiles knockback slam. Why? Interesting. So it uses missiles first. That's actually a really big nerf to like baiting Orb Prime. If you're trying to bait Orb Prime and have them walk into you, the missiles are what do all the damage, but before you could back off before the missiles came out. Now you're going to get hit by the missiles right away. That's actually a pretty big change to the way the game will be played. Bug fixes. So this is not going to be all the bug fixes in the patch. A lot of the bugs that are abusable are not listed in the patch notes. So I don't know, exactly what we're going to get. Most of these don't really matter. I scanned them. Most of these I don't think are huge. A lot of these are just like sound effects and stuff. There are a couple of bugs that they really, really need to fix in this patch that have been around for like the last month and a half or 2 months. And I hope they get fixed. Like Crunch has a dash bug that really needs to get fixed. It's beyond it's broken. It's OP. And they need to fix that. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know about any other bugs that I've encountered. The ability queuing was a big one. But that's the end of the patch notes. So hopefully I was able to kind of clarify some stuff for you. That was the goal of this, is I know that there are a lot of console players who haven't had to read patch notes yet, and I was hoping to be able to clarify some stuff for you. So if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and a subscribe on the video. Let me know down below if you have any questions. I will respond to everything, so let me know. Other than that, guys, that's all I've got for you today. So I've been Pinzo. This video's done, so thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.